Hello and welcome back. This is Libby Boyd. I'm so excited to meet with you again today to share some tips on how to make your first six figures in real estate. And I promote this for all of my brand new agents. So many of them come to me and their financial goal for that first year is six figures. There's something about hitting $100,000 to either replace the job that they have left or to really feel like they've made it. And I want to show you it is easy to do. Okay, easy to actually make that money. Maybe to get there, it will take some work, but you got this. And I want to show you exactly how. So I want to get started. I'm going to show you today's presentation, but I want to go ahead and do this mode. All right, so welcome. This is your first six figures in real estate and hopefully not your last. And what I really want is for you just to understand how to get that first six figures and then just rinse and repeat. Should be really easy once you get those first couple deals under your belt and how to translate them into additional deals. So before I get too far in, since you're going to have to listen to me, I do want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Libby Boyd. I have been a licensed realtor for almost 15 years. I also have my master's degree. Education is my first love. And so I'm combining all my experience with real estate and my love for education in this training. I also realize that for a lot of you, there's a lot of personal items that go into a successful business. Maybe it's limiting beliefs. Maybe it's fear that you get too busy and you'll take time away from your family. How to have that work-life balance. Because this struggle is really consistent for a lot of the agents out there, I went ahead and learned a lot about that. And I got my International Life Coaching certificate. I also, in terms of real estate, have my GRI. I'm a managing broker and I'm a continuing education instructor. But more importantly, I have two kids, 10 and 11, and I'm also married. So with that, I will tell you more about my program. I'm the founder of 90 Days New Agent, but today I'm trying to really pack in a ton of information in a very short amount of time. So get ready, get your notepad ready to take some notes, and I'm going to teach you how to make your first six figures in real estate. Now, very consistent sales cycle, right? We need leads, then prospects, then they become active, then we get them in escrow, we have a closing, and we follow up. And there's an arrow from follow up back to lead. And that's the part that I really want us to focus on, okay? Because what some other people do is they come to me and they say, I need leads. They think that what they need in order to be successful in real estate are leads. Is that true? Sure. Absolutely. If you don't have any leads, you don't have any clients, you don't have any actives, you will not get any closings. But here's the problem that I see so many agents get in the cycle of doing. They pay for leads. What this is like is every time you want to eat, you pay for the fish. Okay, I love this really old school example. Well, maybe if your leads gave you this kind of, but this is a terrible cycle to get into. And I will explain for several reasons why my program is different. I will never, ever pay for leads. And I never want you to pay for leads. What my program does is different. What we do is that we're going to not spend money on leads. So for example, this is what NAR put out recently. I'm not sure the 17% not applicable, what that really means, but let me tell you a story. We once were working with this guy, John, and John was crushing it. He was closing so many deals. I think he was doing close to $25,000 a month in income. Really, really impressive stuff. When we started to really understand his business cycle and how he was doing so great, we realized he was spending over $10,000 a month on these leads. $10,000. So you take the $25,000 he was making, take 10,000 off of that. Now he's down to 15. Almost half of his money was spent paying for those leads. Plus those leads are really expensive. They're very hard to nurture. Sometimes it can be dangerous working with strangers. And you usually don't have a relationship to continue and get more leads. So you have to keep paying. Look at how many people, like 18% pay more than 500,000. Some people have figured this out. And I personally want to work less and make the same amount of money. Okay. He was doing so many deals. I'm sure he was exhausted and burned out. and he had no funnel to keep those going besides feeding it, putting more money into it. That is not how I like to function. And I've seen so many clients quit the business, get burned out, and be completely broke before they made any money on that. My program is different, and I want to teach you how to make your first 100,000, and we will spend $0 on these leads. So there's some that spend a little bit, and there's some that spend more than $500 a month on leads. Like I said, my friend John, not my business model, more power to him. That is not what I think is a sustainable business. Instead, what I want to do is teach you how to fish. Do you understand the difference? A lot of people are paying for leads, which means they are constantly putting money in and trying to get people out of this that they can then foster and convert and work really hard to get them to be actual clients. And then the only way that they get to eat again is to pay for more fish. Instead, my program, I want to teach you how to fish. So therefore, if I teach you the tools and how to capture your own leads and how to foster them and get more and more and more, then you have a sustainable business. It's a lot easier to get to those closings because of the relationship building skills you already have, and you don't have to constantly paying for leads. $0 will you pay for leads ever in your career. Okay. Number one thing you need to know is that the heart of your business is your database. Okay, so when we talk about leads, which is the top of the pyramid, how we get all the way down to a paycheck, we have to start with our database. The number one day on my 90-day program is to focus on your database. A lot of my clients come to me and say, well, I don't have any clients. Well, you don't yet, but you have people. You have people in your database. The statistic proves true. Oh my gosh, I had, not to mention myself, but I had two other clients that when they came to me and we started working together, one was new, one was experienced. And I said, how many people in your database? And some people say, oh, I have 4,000, not emails. Your database consists of people who you put in there that you know, if they did a deal today, they would hire you. Some people I was working with, they started with 7. Okay, we'll start with 7. Every person in that database, every household is worth $1,000. So I was working with Jenna, and Jenna came to me and she had 78 people in her database. She made $77,000 the previous year. This is not a coincidence. It comes together. Sean was another brand new agent. He had about 22 people in his database. And I swear you guys, he made $22,000 the previous year. So we're going to back to this, because what do you think is the most important thing of starting your real estate business? This database. Okay. If you want to make $100,000, we need to have 100 people in this database that you know tomorrow, if they were going to do a deal, they would hire you. And more importantly, they would refer you. That's how we're going to build this. So if you have 40 people, great. We're going to keep working on that 40 and grow and grow and grow. So whatever number you ultimately want to end up, if you want to have $600,000 a year of income, we need to get 600 households in that database. So don't be overwhelmed. A lot of people come to me and they say, I don't have anyone. And I just want to start to think about who these people are. One time I track everything. And so I went back and I tracked, and I play a lot of sand volleyball. I'm really short. You probably can't tell that, but I'm short, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I was on 3 different teams, and I went back in the previous year. I did 3 deals with my volleyball friends. 3. So however I was approaching them, I was bringing them value. They saw me as their trusted real estate advisor, and they hired me and they referred me. So this is one of them is an arborist, and I hired him to do my trees. I helped have him come in and do a seminar to my neighborhood. He's like, great, Libby's my go-to. She's a true professional. She's given me extra business, and now I'm going to hire her. And he also referred me to one of his other colleagues. So out of just one volleyball teammate, I got 2 different deals, and they still keep coming, right? Those people now keep referring me to additional people. That's how this all works. So I love how the graphic comes up here. We're all networked together, all connected, but you need to start thinking about who your people are. Okay. Again, people who know, like, and trust you. Obviously your friends, hopefully your friends would hire you. Your family, if they're local. My family's not local, but I still hope they would hire me if they were. Okay, I have children, as I mentioned at the beginning, and I know a lot of people from their school, and they have been an amazing resource. Obviously, I know the location because we go to school there. So I know the different schools, I know what's in district, what's out of district, I know what the middle and high school rankings are, etc. So a lot of the clients that I've received are people that I see at school, that I see at my kids' sports events, that I see at pickup and drop off and PTO meetings. So I fostered a really great network of people who know I know that local area. I've mastered it. That's where I live. That's where I work. And those people often hire me. A lot of people have great connections through church. To have that kind of baseline connection and faith-based relationship really is helpful. And so people meet a lot of their clients through their church or their religious venues. That's always a great place. So think about some of those people you have connections with through that. Work. Most of us didn't graduate and go right into real estate. Now, I think it's a great plan. I hope my kids do it, but most of us don't do this. Most of us had other jobs. I've had a lot of clients that came from title who were real estate assistants. I have a lot of nursing clients. They're really tired, and bless them, they work so hard in nursing. And there's a lot of transition between nursing and real estate. There's a lot of skills that cross over. Nurses are nurturing. They really are good listeners. They're able to identify and hear the different things to really be able to understand this person and their needs. That is like the biggest part of real estate. And that's why nurses make amazing real estate agents. So I used to be in technology. I had worked at a web design company, and a lot of my those guys are not in real estate, and those guys know that I'm a really smart person. I know technology, and a lot of those people have come back to me to hire me for rental properties or for their own primary houses. I've probably done at least 5 deals. That's not even true. I did 5 deals with one of my past clients. Somebody I used to work with, he hired me, and we've done 5 deals together. So just one of these clients can be an amazing avenue to get more clients. So think about your past jobs. I have one client, and she was a nail tech, and then she got into real estate. Well, she knows those people well. When she was doing their nails, she got to know their ins and outs of their life. They came to her every single week. Build on that relationship. She was a good listener. She was trustworthy. They'd show up, and she was able to convert those nail clients into real estate clients. So instead of a $40 pedicure or manicure, she's now selling them $4 million homes in Miami. Okay. Book clubs. I'm just trying to throw out some ideas. Whatever groups you're part of or people you run into, start thinking about these people and how can I serve them? Okay. There's a great book called The Go-Giver. We're not thinking about how can I make money off them? Who's ready to do a deal? Think about how can I make them my person, right? Look at this. How can I connect them, put them in my database so they know I'm in the business and I'm really good at it. And they're going to start to not only hire me if the time comes, but they're going to refer me. Okay. How can I serve this person in real estate? Okay. Running groups. I've had some clients from my running groups, bowling leagues, your neighbors, your physical neighbors. When it comes time to do something in real estate, they want to buy investments. If they know that you're in the business and you've given them value, I'll talk about how to bring value, but these could be your clients. Actually, he referred me to somebody else, somebody he worked with, and boom, I got a great $1.2 million sale out of it. Great clients. And now they love me and refer me to more people. Okay. So the next tier, right? So we have leads. I hope you have your wheels spinning and trying to think, oh yeah, I forgot about that person, this person, put them in, start to foster those relationships. Okay. Then it comes to becoming a prospect, right? So a lot of these people are happy where they're living. They're not going to do a deal. Okay. If someone comes to you and says, I'm thinking about buying, I'm thinking about selling, or they say, I have a friend, great. Now they're in the prospect phase. They're not active yet. And what so many new agents, and actually experienced agents do, they get so excited about this prospect that they forget to qualify them. They waste a ton of their time and energy spinning their wheels and wasting time on someone who's not ready. Okay, so we all know you have to get them pre-qualified before you put them in a car. Sure, that's true. But finances are not the only way to pre-qualify them. So I have a whole sheet, I have a whole intake form, just like a doctor or nurse would, to say, what's your weight? What's your blood pressure, right? I have a whole form that I've mastered over all these years. I do it for both my listings and my buyers. And again, like my client, Nate, I've done 5 deals with him, and know at number 6, I will walk him through this interview process once again, because that's just my process. And I miss things if I don't. So if you become part of my program, I hand you my script, but it is so important to not get so excited about the idea that you get a paycheck, to step back and make sure you qualify them as buyers or as a sellers. And one thing I'd like to do is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how ready are you to buy? Have them self-rate themselves. I am so surprised, because I think they're ready to go. They sound like they got everything lined up, their finances, they know what they want. And they said, oh, like a 6. And I say, why? Like, well, I can't buy the first house I see. Well, why not? Right? So having them pre-qualify themselves allows you to put them in the right space in your calendar. Do not schedule the whole week around showing them properties when they say they're a 6. Okay, so I could talk way more about this, but I just wanted to pack a bunch of information. Be careful when you get a lead to get them to active. There's this middle step called prospect, and you really need to understand their goals and their motivation and how ready they are to move. A lot of my clients come to me and they just feel like nobody's selling. There's no inventory. Nobody's doing anything. And I love this stat, because we look back to 2005. Like, I've been in this business since 2009. So you can see there was a recession in there. And now we had like this crazy boom, and we've had COVID. I mean, things have been crazy. But what's not crazy is the number of homes sold in the United States. Look at this. It is consistent. We think nobody's selling anything. Now there's tons of houses. It's really consistent. Look at 2021, the year after COVID, when everything kind of froze. Even in 2022, or excuse me, 2020, there was more homes sold. So every year this number is going up. It dropped. Oh my gosh, 21 to 22, it dropped by like this much, by like 100,000 homes. Okay, we're talking about millions of homes. So feel the abundance, see how the trajectory goes. All we're getting is more and more homes, and they're getting more and more expensive. So just know they are out there. There are opportunities, and don't feel like nobody's doing anything. I promise, open up your eyes and you'll see. The way I like to talk about this is that my husband owns a Jeep. He was really shopping for a Jeep Wrangler for a long time, and he finally was able to buy a Jeep Rubicon. And so when he bought this Rubicon, he figured out really quickly that there's like this little Jeep wave you're supposed to do. You kind of just, I get really excited. I do a big wave, but my husband, you're supposed to do like a cool, like on the steering wheel, 2-finger wave. All right. And I never noticed this before. I've never really paid attention. And now that we own a Jeep, all I see are Jeeps all the time. Every like 4th car on the road, I'm like, wave, 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 wave. So this is what happens in real estate too. Take your time. And once you start to invite opportunities into your life and you start putting the feelers out, I promise you, there are a lot of deals out there. Okay. So you just got to put yourself out there in the proper way. And so people will think about you when it comes to real estate, and it will happen. Okay. Like I said, I'm also a life coach. So I definitely want people to really feel the opportunities out there, where so often they think there's no deals, nobody's doing anything. There are lots of deals going on all the time. Somebody needs your help. Think about it that way. Someone needs me to help them. So when it comes to moving them into active, now we've gotten the lead, we know who our people are, we got a referral, we moved them into the prospect stage, we talked them through, we got them pre-approved the lender, that kind of know what their budget is, they really kind of know some other things. So 60% of my buyers will purchase a property on the first day out. Day one, first day out. The way that I get them to do that is by giving them permission to write an offer and bringing clarity. Okay. Again, my sales process walks them through, gets them to understand kind of what they're looking for. I have a pre-sale process before I let them see a property. I walk them through that and I set them up on the MLS so that they can start seeing what's available, what things are going for. 95% of buyers will do research online. Everybody's on Zillow, everybody's on Redfin, everyone's kind of an expert, which is wonderful. Now they know what they're looking for. So I also have a process to really bring that clarity, because confused people don't buy properties. So if you have somebody who's confused, I love this story. This is actually another colleague of mine. He was showing properties and showing properties and showing properties to this guy and his girlfriend. And I mean, a couple of them, he was like, nailed it. This is the one. And he's like, oh. So after a couple of weekends of this, again, I would do this way before a couple of weekends. I don't waste that much time for either myself or my clients. He called up his client on a Monday morning and just like, hey, do you have a second? Yeah. So I just noticed that we saw some properties that really hit everything on your checklist. We talked about the 85% rule. We were there. We might have been 90% that hit everything on your list. And yet you still, I just want to check in with you. What's going on? He's like, I think I'm going to break up with my girlfriend. Oh, had nothing to do with the house, had everything to do with who he was buying it with. And she was with for all these things. So as they were shopping for houses together, he wasn't feeling sure about the her. So we have to be tuned into this. Real estate's about a lot more than buying houses and what makes sense and what's financially. There's a lot of emotion that goes into this. So just be privy to that and try to get to the root of it earlier than later, so you don't waste your or your client's time. So 6% of my clients will buy on their first day out. And that's just because of my process. You have to give them permission. One of the questions I ask is, if we find the perfect house on day one, what will you do? And some people are saying, or even for listings, what if the first person who sees your house writes you a full price offer? And it's really interesting. So a lot of them say, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That would be so great. And a lot of them say like, oh, first person. Well, then I think we listed it too low. Or the buyer said, well, I can't buy the first house I see. Well, why not? Well, I just need to see a lot more. Why? So really try to get down to that, because some people just feel like they need to see 50 houses before they buy one because they have FOMO, right? So let's address that. Let's figure out what it is. If we need to see some bad properties, fine, send them on an open houses, because you know how to do your job well. You're going to show them the right house right away. Okay. So give them permission to write an offer. I have another practice I do. So I'm like, okay, let's say we're going to write an offer. What would it look like? Boom, boom, boom. This has been so successful for me. People who were kind of sitting on the fence, not sure what they wanted to do, all of a sudden we're like, yeah, okay, that looks like a good offer. Let's submit it, right? And you need to have them be clear about what they want. I love this. This is one of my CRMs that I used to use, and I could put all my clients in the hot and active. These people were very clear. They were the ones who were going to buy on the first day out. The hot but confused, they're confused about something. Maybe the interest rates went up and they were overwhelmed by that. They weren't sure if they wanted to start a family, so that would change what they wanted. So, right, you put them in a different bucket, but keep track of them. Then there's the warm. They're a little ways out. They're not ready to do it now. They're getting a new job. Kids are going to be graduating, whatever it is. Anyways, there's another bucket for cold that people I keep track of. For sometimes I have some clients I've been working with. They want to move to Colorado from Florida. We are on year 8. But the right time will come. I stay in touch. I keep sending them properties. Someday it will work out. Okay, escrow, really simple. I'm going to breeze through this. I'll talk a little bit about some other trainings, but to get through this with competency, making them feel taken care of, to negotiate when you need to negotiate, to understand the ramifications of either an under appraisal or an inspection item issue. This is really hard to master on your first deal out. I have an entire program that all I do is help you master these steps. Okay, so to get you through escrow, there's a lot of other moving parts, but these are the 2 big hurdles that you need to really take your client, take them on around, give them a hug, walk them through the process so they feel very taken care of and they feel like they can really trust you. It's really hard to get right the first time. Got to lean on your mentors. You can take my program. This is what I help you do, because the best thing you can do is a great job. The best way to kill your career before you get started is to mess up one of your first deals. Oh my gosh, it breaks my heart. because you know who it probably is? It's probably a good friend or a family member, somebody who is like, I'm going to take a chance on you. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're practicing on them, you're winging it with them, that is not okay. This is their biggest real estate investment, most likely, and you need to handle them with competency and confidence. Okay, you really need to know what you're doing so that they get through a transaction, that you do the right radon testing, that you don't have some sewer line broke, you don't have some weird zoning issues, that you know that the property's on the property lines, right? There's a lot that goes into this, and you need to really be good at what you're doing. So number one thing for all this other stuff to work is you must do a great job on each transaction. If you're curious about this, two things. I have a whole nother training. This is the top 10 things you must master before you do your first deal. I talk about things like this. I talk about the inspection and the appraisal and all of those steps. I also have a done for you step-by-step guide, because so many clients come to me, they say, I don't know what happens after what happens next. Great. They want to see a house. Okay, now how do I set up a showing? I set up a showing. Great. Oh, now they actually want to write an offer. How do I do that? How do I do next? And I don't know what is next. So below you'll see my 90 days new agent. It's 90newagent.com. I would love to talk to you more about my program, because what I've done is I've taken all of this sales cycle, all of the things that takes us years and years and years to master in real estate, and I distill it down to 90 actionable items. In just 90 days, I'll have you master this entire sales cycle so that you know when you show up to do a real estate deal, you nail it, you do a great job, and you're just going to be able to get much more deals out of it. That's what we're going to talk about it after closing. Okay. So if you want more information about my guaranteed closing 90-day new agent training program, go to 90newagent.com, or you can find me on Instagram or wherever you found this training. Reach out to me. I would love to work with you or tell you more about the program. All right, moving on. Post-closing, 17%. That's it. Only 17% of agents follow up. So going back to what other agents do, they pay for leads, they get the closing, and they never talk to their agent again, their clients. 83% never talk to their client again. They get the paycheck and they're like, peace. That is absolutely not. We like the saying, we don't call them past clients. They're our current clients. They're always our clients. And I'll talk about how my clients will still come to me 4, 7, 10 years after a deal. And of course, they're going to rehire me. Only 17% hear from their, and only 17% will rehire their agent. There is a lot of low-hanging fruit here, people. Okay. If you just follow up, you are in the top 93% of agents. Okay. So follow up. What I mean by that is ask for the business. Say, I loved working with you. If you know anybody else who's looking to buy or sell, I'd be honored to have your referral. Now, again, my 90-day new agent training program talks about explicitly how to ask for the business and how to stay in touch. Okay, this has a little phone, stay in touch. Are you old enough to think of this as a phone? Anyways, I want you to jump on phone calls. I'll tell you what to say. I want you to send them notes. I want you to do Popeyes. I want you to stay in touch with these people. They should be. You're not a one and done. You don't just get your paycheck and ditch them. Okay. You need to keep fostering them so you stay top of mind. So they're going to refer you. Let them be your lead generation machine. That's what we're going to talk about now. My entire program is based on a referral-based business. Again, I've been in this business for over 15 years. I've never once paid for a lead. I've never once paid for ads. I've never once done cold calls. Okay. I've had an extremely successful business, all referral-based business. Let me tell you one of the reasons that I think this is extremely important, and I'm not trying to single out women over men, but I unfortunately am very privy to some of the dangers we have when we meet up with strangers. There's more and more schemes going out there, and more risk. So I do not ever want to work with strangers. So it's just reason number 72 that I will never pay for leads. I only work with people who I know or who have directly referred me to somebody else. That's how I've run my business. It is way more cost effective, way more labor. It's not as much labor as it is to foster a cold lead. And it's been a really fun business for me to work with people who know, like, and trust me already. All right. I love this graphic. I just threw this together to show you an example of one of my clients and how this works. Okay. You want to know how to make your first 100,000? Here it is. Okay. So we have Derek over here. Derek actually worked with my husband. So my husband had an IT company. He was one of his employees and he was looking for a house for his, and they have another little boy now too. They're the cutest. So I helped them shop. We bought this house and you can see the price tag below it. You know, we're in a fairly expensive area. There are much more expensive areas and there's also much less expensive areas. So I think where I work in Colorado is pretty much kind of middle of the road. If each one of your clients refers you to 2 clients, usually they can bring you up to 5 clients, but I'm trying to get 2. If we just do 1 referral from each client, we don't build this pyramid, right? If every one of our clients gives us 2 referrals, look at how quickly we can build our business. Okay. So from there, we sold this, and this was at the time, it was my biggest deal, almost 1.5 million to these guys. Beautiful home. And then another starter home for my good friends, Terry and John. They're awesome. And unfortunately, I just sold that house that we had bought because they moved out of state. So I miss them. And they raised their family. They had 2 little girls in that house. So we got them a starter home. They did tons of work to it. We sold it for more than double a couple years later. So Terry and John then referred me to these 2 clients. I sold one in Loch Buie, an area I've never worked before. So that was a new experience for me. And then I helped these other clients help their son buy his first condo in downtown Denver. You can see the price tags next to those. And then up above, my awesome clients originally from New York, they referred me to Eric and Joy, who bought, and actually both of these bought brand new construction in neighbors they were next to each other in neighboring communities. So you can just see how quickly one client refers to 2, who refers to 2 more. And I can tell you, I did a great job on all these deals, and that's why they referred me. So let's do the numbers. Okay. So I did it for you. If you start looking at, $500,000, 1.5, that was a lot, right? But 280, 310, like they're all over the board for pricing. So don't feel like, oh, well, you sold a $1.5 million house and that helps, but there are a lot less expensive homes too. All right. So the total for that was just over 4 million. So Derek and his wife referred me to 2 clients who referred you to. Just on those deals, I made 4 million. I closed 4 million in real estate. Now I just did an average commission, especially when you're the buyer's agent. I want to keep this simple and not get on the listing side and just talk about buyers. So all these were just refers to buyers, and we're at 2.5. Every market is different. Usually we're at 2.8, but I just wanted to make the numbers a little more approachable so that whatever market you're in, if you're 2% rate or if you're a 3% rate, you can see that it can go up. By the 2.5% rate, there we are. We're at our 6 figures, 104. You see how quickly that happens? 1 client, 2 more clients to 4 clients. That's it. And we're at our 6 figures. So I'm really telling you, it doesn't have to be super complicated, but going back, you have to do a great job. All right. How to turn clients into referral machines. Number 1, bring value. I know I keep saying this, and there are a lot of agents out there. They all have their own programs. I just want you to, and again, I will walk you through this line by line, exactly how to do this, what to give them in my 90-day new agent training program. But for today, since it's all consolidated, all I want to do is to think about something that's truly valuable. To me, the Broncos football schedule as a magnet is not valuable to me. Now, that's an okay touch point. It's just top of mind, just a little, hey, I'm here. But when I'm talking about it, every single person in my database, which is a big database because I make really good money and I really fostered this over 15 years. I do an annual CMA for them. Now, Again, I do an entire class just on this during my training, but every single one of my clients gets their annual checkup from me, their trusted real estate advisor. Now, this takes me over 2 months to do for every single one of my clients, but it is so worth it. Now they know Libby is going to show up in October or November and hand me a report of how much my home is worth. We might chat at the front door for 5 minutes. They might invite me in and we might end up having a glass of wine and catching up for an hour. That's great too. But every single one of my clients knows every year they're going to get their annual checkup of their most valuable asset from me every year. I also get a lot of contacts asking me, hey, we're looking at renovating our house. We're looking about adding an addition. We are looking at just doing some painting. We need to fix this, right? They contact me. Again, I'm their trusted real estate advisor. They need someone who does mud jacking. They need a structural engineer. They need a general contractor. They need new countertops. Whatever, they contact me. I have fostered a huge database of contractors, and I am their go-to person for anything house related. Okay, so this takes some time. You have to keep in track of these people in your database. Again, this isn't just for your potential clients, it's also for contractors. It is something a lot of agents don't talk about, but you need to be a holistic real estate advisor to them, and having trusted contractors in your database, electrical, plumbing, if their house floods, you need to be their go-to, and they need to know they can always contact you for some good resources. Also, every time one of my clients wants to refinance, they call me. Why? Because they are trying to get a certain value so they can refinance and maybe pull some equity out. And in order to get to that value, they need my help. I will put together the report to give to the appraiser. Again, in my program, I spent an entire hour-long session talking about how to get the house to appraise. But when you're doing a refinance, my clients, unfortunately, some have called me after the fact and their appraisal came in much lower than they expected. So they couldn't do what they wanted to do. It's really disappointing. Have them call you. If you're looking at refinancing, contact me. Again, I say this when I do the annual CMA. They say, if you want to refinance, let me know. I can give you more details. I can get you to a price you want, reasonably. And then finally, I have them set up on the MLS. So they know exactly every single house in the neighborhood, what it's listed for, what it ends up closing for. They can see the pictures. It takes me 5 seconds to set up. It is one of my most valuable things I do. And most agents don't do any of these things. Like again, 83% never talk to their clients. These are all things I do all the time to every person in my database. Okay. Staying in touch. Again, there can be some soft touches. I don't care if they're the Broncos schedule. Fine. If that's important to you, great fall hikes to see, the leaves, whatever. That's not usually what I do. I do an annual report for the neighborhood. I do their annual CMA personal every single fall. I do a Christmas pop by or holiday season pop by. I do usually something beginning of summer I'll do. And then sometimes like a Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day, I usually do another pop by, and they're just nice little gifts. I try to call them. I try to email them. I send them notes in the mail, right? Just little touch points. It's not hard. And I really enjoy it. Clients are the best part of my business. So that's easy, but most people don't do it. Now, if you're lucky enough for your client to ever mention your name in the same context of real estate, they get flowers every single time. I've had people like, well, they're already working with another agent, but they want to be in our neighborhood. Do you know of anything? Am I going to get a commission from that? No. Do I care? No. They mentioned my name in context of real estate. Play this for the long game, you guys. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when someone's going to actually follow a contract or think their agent's not doing a great job. We don't need to pursue it. We just show up and do a good job and let your client know, thank you so much for thinking of me when it came to real estate. Here are some flowers. Now, if you have maybe some gentlemen in your group, I don't always send flowers to guys if they're single guys, but you'll figure something out. Send them something as a thank you, even if it never turns into an actual sale. They mentioned your name in context of real estate, and that is worth a lot. And finally, the reason people are referring you is not to be nice, not because they care about you. It is to make themselves look good, right? When you make them look good, they love to refer you. They're like, I got someone for you. Have you ever done that? Like, Oh my gosh, you want to put new hardware floors in? I got someone. You have to use this person. It works for doctors. It works for dentists. Like, you only refer if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hook my friend up with Libby because Libby's awesome. And I know I'm going to look really good by hooking her up. Right. So think about that. Are you doing such a good job and providing so much value that you're actually making your client look good referring you? That's the kind of mentality you need to get into. How to turn your clients into referral machines. So you can see really quickly, I actually want the arrows to go the other way on this graphic, right? One person refers to two more people. Look how quickly you're going to build your business with this mentality, with a referral-based business. Okay, going back to database. How much is every home in the database worth? $1,000 of income. Okay. So going back to think about all the people that you have maybe in your database, you need to start thinking about, how do we grow this database? If I want to make $100,000 in this year, that database has to have at least 100,000 people in it. I want you to reach out to me. Maybe put a marker in your calendar a year from today. I would love to hear if this comes true, because it is creepy how often it is exactly right on. Like I said, myself and two of my clients, that first year I walked through this with them, boom, it was exactly right on. So now we understand how to get to 100,000. We need to have 100 people, just 100. Don't worry about social media. Don't worry about having this really wide net. We need to take those people that are closest to us and start growing out from the inside. Don't try to get a big net and try to gather them. That's exhausting. You'll be broke and you'll be exhausted. Okay. Start little and build out from there. All right. Just letting you know. You see how this program is different, how I approach it different than other agents. So many other agents buy all their leads. We've talked about stranger danger, not how I'm going to work. I am not buying fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish. Okay. So number one, they buy their leads. Then they do a transaction and they do it poorly. I've worked with a lot of new agents. There are a lot of good ones out there. It's hard to learn the business without practicing on the job. There is no internship. Your mentor's going to be a loose, like, out there if you need something, but they're not going to hold your hand. Again, this is what my program does, so that when you get to inspection, you know what to do. When you get to appraisal, you know what to do. When it comes to showings, you know what to do. When you write offers, you know what to do before you work with a real client. So the other problem is 83% of them never follow up. We've talked a lot about that. Look at how much room there is for you to improve your business just on that aspect. And the fact is 87% of agents drop out of the business within 5 years because it's hard. It is not like it looks on TV. It's not all about looking really cute and driving a fancy car. There's a lot that goes into it, but you can do it. And I'd love to help you. So thank you so much for visiting this. If you go to 90newagent.com or you follow me on social media, if you're interested in learning more about my program, there is a way you can fill out an application on my website. So go to 90 New Agent and then you can go to Guarantee and it will tell you a little bit more about my program and who I am. And then it gives you a link to actually agent apply, uppercase agent, uppercase apply. And you can go there and apply today for this program. And if it's a good mutual fit, we can jump on a call or we can get you signed up and we can get you started on your path to 90 days to mastering the real estate cycle and being a really successful agent and easily hitting your first 100,000. Thanks so much.